Here's the answers to question number 1. So write a square number over 50. So the first thing we need to think about is what is a square number. So that's talking about, for example, 1 squared. So squared means that number times itself. So 1 times 1 is 1. 2 squared, 2 multiplied by itself twice, which is 4. 3 squared, 3 times 3, which is 9, and so on. Okay, so that's our pattern, and we're looking for a square number that is over 50. So you can see in terms of our answers here, we've gone from 1, 4, 9. So 4 squared will be 16. 5 squared is 25. We're not getting up to this over 50 yet, so we'll just keep going. 6 squared, 6 times 6 is 36. 7 squared, 7 times 7 is 49. 8 squared, we get up to 64, so we're finally now getting up to a squared number that's over 50. So 64 is a square number over 50, or anything that's above that. So 9 squared, 9 times 9 is 81, so that would be another square number over 50. 10 squared is 100. So any of those squared numbers above 50. For part B, list all the factors of 120. So factors is when we break that down. So I start with 1 times 120, and now I'm thinking, can I do 2 times something to get 120? So 2 times 60 is 120. Then can I do 3 times anything? Or 3 times 40? Then I need to think 4, can I do 4 times anything? So 4 times 30. What about 5? Can I do 5 times anything? So that's going to be 5 times 24. What about 6? Can we do 6 times anything? Yep. 6 times 20. 7. Can I do 7 times anything? No, I can't. Not a whole number. What about 8? Yep, 8 times 15. Then I just need to think 9. Can I do 9 times anything? No, I can't. What about 10? Well, 10 times 12. And 11. Can we do 11? No, we can't. So that is all of the possible factors. So I would just write those in a list and say, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15, 20, 24, 30, 40, 60, and 120. So there are all my factors. So what about multiples? So factors are when I'm breaking a number down. Multiplies means I'm multiplying, so getting bigger. So 1 times 15 is 15. 2 times 15 is 30. 3 times 15 is 45. 4 times 15 is 60. And 5 times 15 is 75. So the first 5 multiples of 15 are those numbers there. So 15, 30, 45, 60, and 75. Those are my first 5 multiples. Now what about prime numbers? So prime number is something that can only be multiplied by 1 and itself. So for example, the number 2, I can do that as 1 times 2. That's all. 3 is another prime number, 1 times 3, and so on. So I want to think about all the prime numbers, but they need to be particularly between 40 and 50. So if I list all those numbers, 41, 42, 43, etc. Let me just list those all out. And I just need to think which of these numbers is not a prime. So anything that is a multiple of 2, so any even number, they're definitely not prime, so I can cross all of those even numbers out. Now I need to look at the numbers that are left and think, could I multiply any other numbers? So for example, 49, I could do 7 times 7. So that means 49 is not a prime. 47, can't do anything else, so that one will be a prime. 45, well, I can do 3 times 15, so that one won't be. 43, yep, there's nothing else I can do there, and 41 also. So the prime numbers that you could have written down is either 41, 43, or 47. We would have accepted any of those. Now if I want to find the square root, so the square root means what number when multiplied by itself is equal to 289. So for example, if I had the square root of 4, that's the same as saying what's the square root of 2 times 2? And 2 times 2 is 4, so the square root of that would be 2. So we want to do the same thing for 289. So this is when we need to know our patterns. So 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 8 squared is 64, 9 squared is 81, 10 squared is 100, 11 squared is 121, 12 squared is 144, 13 squared is 169, 14 squared is 196, 15 squared is 225, so 16 squared is 256, so I'm still not quite there. 17 squared is 289. So that means 17 times 17 is equal to 289. So the square root of that is 17. So calculate 25 squared. So that's when we need to know that 25 squared means 25 times 25. So if we do our long multiplication with that, if you're not sure, 5 times 5 is 25, 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. Now I want to multiply by the 2, so I'm going to put a 0 because it's in the tens column. 2 times 5 is 10, 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So that's going to give me 625. If we look at number H here, negative 2 plus 22 plus 15. So in terms of number line, there's 0. So we're going to start at negative 22 and we're going to add on 15. And we're thinking, where is that going to take me to? So if I add on 15, that is actually going to take me to negative 7. And our last one, I. Calculate negative 2 all to the power of 5. So this means negative 2 being multiplied by itself 5 times. So now we need to think about what happens with the negative signs. So negative times a negative is positive. Negative times negative is positive. So that leaves me with one negative left over. So that means my answer is going to be a negative number. Now do the numbers. So I can do 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, and 16 times 2 is 32. So our answer is negative 32.